name is Yuri Plakosh. I'm engineering manager at TIPCO Jaspersoft. I will present today Visualize.js and dashboard wiring using Visualize.js. So let's go to our agenda. So we will briefly talk about what is Visualize.js, and then we will do some legal announcement, and then we will do demo. Then after that, we will do our Q&A session, and in the end, you will be able to see some other resources which could be useful for you. Okay. So what's Visualize.js? So Visualize.js is basically a JavaScript API which you can use to embed different visualizations from Jasper report server into your web application. There are different visualizations type which we support in Visualize.js. We support reports. Those can be, any reports created in Jaspersoft Studio. We also support ad hoc views. Those are visualizations which you can create in Jasper report server using ad hoc designer. We also can embed dashboards, again created in Jasper report server inside dashboard designer. We also can render input controls and program interaction with input controls, and those are the kind of filters which you create for your reports. Other than visualizations, we also support repository search feature. This is basically a convenient way to work with our repository, and it is basically a wrapper, JavaScript wrapper around our REST API. Okay, so legal parts. Visualize.js is feature of using a commercial professional license. So if you want to use it, you will need to have this kind of license. It's not available in community version of Jasper report server. If you have any questions regarding licensing, please contact Dr. Jasper at tipco.com. So you will get all the information you need. Okay. So next part, so demo. I'll go ahead and start the demo part. So for demo part, what we will do, we will use JS Fiddle. This is online tool which where you can do some coding. So just briefly, this online tool has a few parts. Here you can write HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and in result, you will see the result of your coding. So first of all, if we want to work with Visualize.js, we will need to load Visualize.js itself, and we can do that using script tag. We will need to load Visualize.js script by from our Jasper report server, and I have my instance on this path available. So if you'll go to Spas, this is the instance I will use. But we will also need to provide the exact path to Visualize.js script itself. So it will be client/visualize.js. Okay. So next thing we will need some place where we will render our visualizations. And we will have two visualizations to render. There will be one visualization with sales by country, and the other one will be with top 5 brands sold by each country. And we will wire them together so that when you click on some country on the first visualization, you will have top 5 brands in the second one. So we will render this first visualization into our div element, and let's give it some identification. It will be container1, and let's give it a try. Of course, we don't see anything right now because there is no visible parts yet. So let's add some. Let's add, say, loading. Okay, so we see it works. Now, let's give our container for visualization some shape and form. And we will do that by adding some width and some height. Okay, and let's add some border for now, just to see that it works. Okay, there is some problem here. Okay, right, yeah. So yeah, we see our visualization, our viewport where we will render visualization. So what next? Next, we will need to establish a connection to Jasper per server. And to do that, we will use our visualize function. So as we loaded Visualize.js script, we have this Visualize.js function available, and it accepts two parameters. First one is some configuration, and that's object with configuration. Second is function. And the second parameter and actual function will be called when connection with the server is established, and it will receive the parameter which is connection you can use to communicate with Jasper per server. So to establish the connection, we will need to authenticate to the server. You can use different mechanisms for authentication, but for demo purposes, we will use just plain username and password. It's not recommended to be used in production, but for demo purposes, we can do that. Okay, so let's have it. The name will be joy user. And password user. And we also need to specify the organization the user belongs to. This is our multi-tenancy feature, as you know. We will use organization 1. Is our default organization. And before we continue, we also tried. We also will write down some message for ourselves to understand if it works or not. And you'll say in Visualize. So now let me make this a little bit bigger. I will open our developer console. There are some warnings here. I believe those are related to just Fiddle itself. So yeah, let me clean those. Let's give it a try. All right, so we established connection with Jasper report server, and now we can use Visualize. Let's remove this line, and we will load ad hoc view, which we have in Jasper report server. First one will be, I'll go to Jasper report server. We have 2 ad hoc views. So first one will be sales by country, and second one will be top 5 by country. Okay. So to load this first visualization, we need to call ad hoc view function from the connection which we have, and it accepts an object with different parameters. So first parameters you want to set is container, and container will be our viewport, reference to our viewport where we want to render the visualization. So in this case it is container 1. Second thing we want to specify is resource parameter, and resource parameter is actually the path to our visualization in Jasper report server. So to get that, we'll go to repository, we'll find our visualization, sales by countries, and we need this path information. We'll copy it and use it here. Okay. So next thing we need is our error handler. So error handler is a function which accepts which will be called in case of error, and it will have error object. So we will do just console log. In our case, we are not going to handle it in some way right now, but in your application, in case of any error, you would want to handle that error in the way you want or need it for your application. So next, what we will do, we will also add success parameter. And again, this is a function which will be called on success rendering of the visualization, and it has some data information which we'll also log into console for now to see what that is. And that is it. So let's try it out. Okay. So yeah, so we got some information, some error information that container not found. And that's true because I need specify it like this. Okay, let's give it another try. Okay, so here we go. We have our first visualization loaded into our application. So consider this part as your application. You can see that we have this button which will allow you to change basically visualization type here. So you can change it to crosstab, table, for example, pie charts. There are some visualizations which are not available, and this is because of shape and form of this initial visualization. It doesn't allow us to select any other visualizations. I mean, some of the visualizations can be selected. So this visualization selector selection dialog or visualization change dialog is something which might be not needed for your case, and you might not want to have it in your application and allow users to change visualization type. So for that, we can go ahead and see what this element is, and we can hide it. Okay, let's try it. Okay, so we don't have this element anymore. All right, let's quickly take a look at what we have in this data, which we receive in success callback. So we have metadata part, which is which has available visualizations type, which I was talking about previously, and there is programmatic way you can set different visualizations type from JavaScript. It has also input parameters. So input parameters are the parameters which will allow to filter this visualization if visualization has some filters created for it. And also there is output parameters information here, which is actually something you can get from the visualization when you do certain actions. For example, when you click on this bar, you can get information about what measure was clicked and what country was clicked. And for country, we have this long, weird name. This is something what is generated by ad hoc designer, but we're going to use it. Okay, so before we will use this one, we want to try to render second visualization. And to do that, I will do some small refactoring here. I will move our rendering into separate function and we'll call it render sales by countries. Okay, and it will have v parameter, and we will simply move this code here, and we will call this function. Let me simply copy it, the name, and let's try if it works. Okay, so it works. Now let's create second viewport or container for visualization, div id 2, and we will have the same shape and form for it. So I will add it to, I will set the same rules for it. Let's give it a try. Okay, we have second viewport here available. So now let's create another function. Okay, I wanted to name it render, actually. Okay, it works. So let's create a second function. And let's name it render top 5. Okay, this editor behaves weird. Let's see. Okay, render top 5. So to not write all this code from scratch, I will just copy paste. I will need to change container. It will be container 2. And now I need to change the resource path. And let's take a look what that will be. Okay, copy. Okay. And let's call this function for now from this place. We'll call previous one, and let's give it a try. Okay, so there is some problem. Reference v is not defined. Yeah, so we need to pass. Yeah, we didn't define it. So let's give it a try. Okay, so now we have two visualizations loaded. But second one is loading for now with all the sales, top 5 brands by countries, but it's by all countries, not just by specific one. And we want to load it by specific country, which when we click here, we'll load information for it. So to do that, first of all, we will use link options parameter here. And we will use events parameter inside, and we will use click event. And click event, click property will accept a function, which is a handler of click event, and it will receive some data. Okay, so let's take a look what that data is. By console log data. Let's try it. Okay, so when we click it, we see this object, and this object actually has this long weird parameter which we discussed before, which is output parameter. So we will use this name to grab information about the country on which we clicked. So let's go and change this console log to log just country. Okay, Mexico, USA, Canada. So we have now country. We know which country was clicked. Now we need to pass this information further down to second visualization. So let's remember information site variable. So we have country. Okay. Now we will not call this country from second visualization. We will not call it right away, but we will call it when user clicks. So we'll move this rendering part here. Let's see what happens. Okay, so first one visualization is rendered, second one not. Let's click. Okay, second is rendered. Click next. Okay, rendered, but we don't see really any changes in this visualization, second visualization. It seems and the same, and it did the same. So now we need to really pass this country information inside second visualization. And let's take a look at what second visualization accepts as input parameters. So it actually accepts country, but this parameter has different name than the output parameter from the first visualization. So let's copy this name, and we will use it in second visualization over here. And to do that, we will add a new property here called params, and we will pass this input parameter we just copied from here, and it accepts an array, and we will need to pass the country here. So this function will accept new parameter country. We will pass it here. Okay. And we need to pass this country down to the render top 5 function. So this is the one which we are passing into render top 5 function here, and we use it in params section. Okay, so let's try it. And I will clean this console log for now. So let's see. Okay, it looks like we have changes. It is different for each country. Okay, so basically we wired first visualization to the second visualization using link options and click event by passing the information about country from the first visualization to the second visualization, and we use this country to filter down the results here. So but now we don't know what that country is in the second visualization. It says just top 5 brands by country and nothing else. So what we can do, we can actually hide this title and use some custom title. So to hide the predefined title in the second visualization, we will add additional parameter which is called show title, and we will say false. So let's try it. and we don't see any title. So now we will need to edit ourselves. So let's do div. Let's give it some identification like container to title. Okay. And let's try some title. Let's try if it works. Okay, so we have some title. We can probably style it some way. Container to title. Probably give it same width. And give it alignment. Let's try it. Okay, we have it in the center. We probably at this point will want to get rid of border. Just 1 second. Okay, so let's try it out. Okay, and when we click, you see our second visualization. So now in our in our second visualization, we want also to name this title properly. We'll remove first the text which we specified previously, and we will do document get element by ID. We'll find this container to title in the DOM, and we will use, in this case, inner HTML equals country. It is highly recommended before you do any, these kind of calls to inner HTML, you should make sure that information you are passing there, it doesn't have any problematic HTML, that you definitely trust this information. If you don't, you have to escape it in your application. So let's try and see what we have. And we have USA, have Mexico, have Canada. Okay, and we can, add some additional text over here, like top 5 brands by, I'll give it a try. Top 5 brands by Mexico, by USA. Yeah. So I think this is what I wanted to present today. We went through, all the basics of Visualize, from establishing the connection to rendering some simple visualizations and rendering, wiring them together to work together so that you can show some detailed information in the second visualization based on the information from the first visualization. I think we can now go move on to Q&A and yeah, Jake.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks, Yuri. I was actually just typing up a response here. So we've got a couple of people through the chat and through the Q&A. So let's just go ahead and answer these live since we're able to now and your demonstration is complete.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the first questions here is they're asking about report rendering using Visualize.js and then changing the chart type from a bar to a pie. Now, if you're still sharing your screen, could you just quickly show them that icon, the settings icon that allows you to quickly toggle between the chart types?
Sorry, let me go back. Yeah. You mean this one, right?
So no, in the rendering, where you get like I always call it the gear icon that's usually in the top left of the chart rendering. I don't know if you potentially have it disabled.
Yeah, I disabled.
Oh, I see. That's your
Yeah.
CSS property. Gotcha.
Yeah. So we have this visualization change button here. By default, when you click it, you can see visualization, select visualization type dialog, where you can select any visualization available and applicable to this particular shape and form of ad hoc view. But if you don't want it to have, you can use this technique to disable it.
Okay. Yep. Great. So Sumit, I believe that was your question, and it was a two-part question. And the second part is really just asking about the export of that. So we didn't really cover it in our demonstration today, but let me see really quick if I can find our online reference to the exporting component.
Yeah.
Visualize.js.
We have some information here about these samples. So you can go and see some live samples which we have. And let me see if there is some export. So there is some export sample over here for the report. So it will allow you, to export this visualization to some format. And so for that, there is example here. So you should use export function, call export function with specifying output format. And you also can specify the pages you want to export, as you can see here. So by default, I believe it will be all pages, but if you will specify the range of pages, it will be exported. PDF will have just those pages which you specified. And there are a lot of useful samples in our live samples website. So you can find all different kind of samples for ad hoc views, for reports, for dashboards, as well as for input controls.
All right, perfect. There's kind of a follow-up question to that I'll transition to next. Yuri, is one of the properties in the export settings allow you to change the file name of the export file?
I don't believe that we have some of those properties. At least I don't remember that.
Okay, so that could potentially be something we add down the road, maybe.
Yes. If I don't remember it, I can go back and look, and if we have, we can communicate that information. But if we don't, and I believe we don't, we should we can probably work on it in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So Jesus, you have a question about, can this be used in Jaspersoft Studio? So I'll answer this a little bit more thoroughly just to make sure that I'm on the same page and understand the question correctly. So Visualize.js is an embedding library. So Jaspersoft Studio really is not a part of this. Studio is more for the report design and creation. And then once that report is complete and you're ready to display and embed it, that's what this is for. Now, if that ties around to, can this be done with reports created in Jaspersoft Studio, then absolutely, yes, it can be. Now, if that doesn't answer your question, please feel free to follow up on that. So I don't have a name for this question, but they're asking if there's an example for using auth without name and password and org, and the answer to that is yes. So the web page that Yuri was just on, that had all of the different fiddles and samples there, has different authentication types that you can use. And as Yuri said at the beginning of the demonstration, the plain text username and password is just something we do to quickly get things set up rather than something we'd recommend in a production type environment.
Yeah, so there is this sample, I don't remember. Okay, so it looks like it doesn't work right now, but it shows like one of the possible ways how you can do that. And there is JS authentication cookbook link here. So I believe more information can be found here. And there was some session, Dr. Jasper session previously about pre-authentication mechanism. I think that would be also useful.
Yeah,
okay.
Agreed. Okay. Yuri, would you be able to type the answer and just provide them with the URL that has the fiddles that we're looking at? I unfortunately don't have it pulled up right in front of me.
Yeah, absolutely. I will send a link to root.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Q&A. So should I do it in Q&A?
You could go ahead and put it in just the chat so everyone gets it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be a nice resource for the attendees to have.
Yes.
So there's a question here. You want to add time and date, etc. I'm going to need a little bit more context on what exactly it is you're trying to accomplish there as far as dates and times with Visualize, but we're happy to spend a few minutes to go over that. Another question about how to find the dashboard rendering status. So I'm not sure if you're looking for the Visualize instructions on how to embed a Jaspersoft dashboard, or if you're looking for some way to pull the status of something that's rendering there. If you're looking to embed a dashboard, again, that's in the examples that Yuri will be putting in the chat here in just a moment. If you're looking to obtain some sort of like status check on it, please let me know if that's what you're really looking for. And let me just check the other channels here and make sure we don't have any other open questions at the moment.
Yeah, so I send a link to dashboard sample and also a link to more samples which you can get from this dashboard samples page.
Great. And Yuri, is the code that you used for today, is that a saved fiddle that we could share with the attendees? Or I know a lot of the work that you did is essentially done in the examples that you just sent, but
it's not saved, but I can save it and I can share it. I don't see the reason why I should cannot. The only thing is that this is my instance.
Right.
So you will need to have your own instance. You will actually not have access to it because it's under the VPN, so internal thing. So you will need to change it to something else. And let me write down here something like localhost 8080, for example, and then Jasper server Pro. Okay, and make sure that your HTTP here is the same as just Fido HTTP. So it should be either secure or unsecure in both cases. Otherwise, it might not work really properly. So I will save it. Okay, now it doesn't work for me, but I mean, I will share this.
All right, great, thank you.
Simple.
All right.
Use your JS instance to load Visualize code. Sorry, Visualize.js script. Okay.
All right, great. All right, so it looks like we've got one more question here, and it's asking if the second report title was built using a variable or a param, will it display without all the additional code? So I think maybe they're asking like if it's built using a default param, but please let me know if that's not correct.
So second title, I actually established a new, I added a new div element for the second title, and then I just on fly, pass the information I want, in this case, top 5 brands by country, and country was taken from the first visualization. And I made default title hidden. So this second visualization, it actually has its own title, but it was hidden by me. If I will remove, if I comment out this show title false and will render it again, so you will see, this original title and also our title. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. And Yuri, as far as defaulting parameters, Visualize.js, when it renders these reports, let's say you were to not pass a parameter intentionally with your Visualize code, but your report uses a default, that should still resort to loading the default param for rendering, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
In this case, I used ad hoc view, not report. But if I will load this in ad hoc designer, not this one, sorry, this side, too fast clicking. I need top 5 by country. Okay. So you will see that we have this country filter. So this is where we are passing information about the country, and actually it by default, as I configure it, it loads information about Canada, but you can change it, to load information about all the countries, and this, and if you save it, it will be your default.
Perfect. All right. So it looks like there was a question about the samples and the demo being shared in the chat. It looks like we were just sharing it among the panelists here. So I've copied and pasted everything that Yuri sent and sent it to all the attendees in the chat as well. So please let me know if it's still not there for the attendees who are asking for that, but you should be able to see it in the chat. All right. So Sumit wants to know, and I believe one of these I'm pretty sure on, and the other I'm not sure, but Yuri, as it stands right now for version 7.5.1 of Jaspersoft server, the way I understand it, the ad hoc designer still does not play with Visualize.js, but what about the dashboard designer? Are both of the designers off the table right now for Visualize.js?
So we do not have ad hoc designer or dashboard designers available in Visualize.js. We have just visualizations available. Basically, in case of ad hoc, you will see you will be able to interact with this visualization. In case of dashboard, it's the dashboard you can embed, but not ad hoc designer or dashboard designer. So if you want to embed those like entirely, you should use iframe technique.
Okay, great. Yep, and that's the way I understood it as well, that the iframe is still the embedded solution for both of those designers. Okay, great.
That's correct.
Do we, and I don't know if this is something that we've added within the last few releases, or maybe this is just kind of something we've been talking about internally. So another user here is asking about doing a drill down type scenario and replacing the report in the same container, and then having an interest in using a back like functionality. Does our Visualize.js library support any sort of back button or previous report kind of functionality?
To be honest, I need to dig into it to answer this question. I don't remember from top of my head.
Okay. So to whoever asked that question, and I'm sorry, I see your name here. I just know that I'm going to pronounce it very incorrectly. If you'd like to send a follow-up email to us, to our Dr. Jasper at tibco.com email, that could be something that we definitely follow up with you on and get that question answered as far as the drill down and back type functionality. Okay. All right, I'm just going to do one last quick check here on our Q&A and on our chat and make sure that we have everyone's questions answered who has submitted one. We are running a little short on time here. Okay. So it looks like we've answered all the Q&A questions. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Again, any follow-up coordination or questions, please feel free to get in contact with us through our Dr. Jasper at tibco.com email address. I want to thank everyone for joining us here this morning, and we'll look forward to seeing everybody next month on another session. And Yuri, thank you very much for your time today and for the demonstration.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your day.